I'm working on a book right now about how to slow, halt, or reverse mild cognitive impairment. So I've been spending a lot of time lately talking to people like Miriam here who have been able to do that. There are a lot of them out there, and I'm learning a lot from them just by asking them how. How were you able to do that? Of course, there's no simple answer, but there are answers. There are things that are working out there for real people in the real world, and that's what I want to give you a glimpse of today. Hi, I'm Tony Deering of GoCogno.com, the website for people with mild cognitive impairment. Now, what it takes to slow, halt, or reverse MCI is not something I can fully explain to you in a 5-minute video. That's why I'm writing a book. But today, as a prelude to that, I want to share some of the basic ways that I've seen people end up stabilizing or improving their cognition. Because there's kind of a tier of ways, and many people fall into one of those tiers. I'm going to do that in a 2-part series of videos, and this is part 1. The first tier is people with a single, simple, treatable cause of MCI. So let me give you a couple examples. A woman notices an alarming decline in her mother's memory. She takes mom to a doctor who does a perfunctory examination and says, "Yeah, looks like Alzheimer's." And the woman is like, "I don't know." So she goes and finds another doctor who really knows his stuff. And it turns out that mom was recently put on a new medication and she's having a bad reaction to it. The doctor weans her off the medication. Her cognition returns to normal. Another example would be someone with a vitamin deficiency, something that can happen as we age, and it can result in memory loss that looks like dementia. But it's easily detected in a blood test, and the person can be given vitamins and memory improves. Now, if only, right? If only it were always that simple. Unfortunately, it's usually not. The next tier of people are those who have a primary contributor that's not so simple. Like one couple I know. The wife has MCI, and the husband is doing everything he can to help her. He's got her on the Bredesen profile. He takes her to exercise classes. He's making sure she eats all the right foods. But do you know what the number one preventable cause of dementia is turning out to be? Statistically speaking, it's alcohol abuse. This woman has a drinking problem. And when she's drinking heavily, her cognition is terrible. When she's sober, her cognition is better. Nothing against the Bredesen protocol, but what this woman needs is sobriety. The next tier is what I call the round up the usual suspect tiers. And these are the usual suspects: lack of exercise, lousy diet, stressed out to the max and not dealing with it, sleeping disorders. Now, I can't prove this, but I'm convinced that the majority of people with MCI fall somewhere in this bucket. I get to talk to a lot of the top doctors who specialize in MCI, and this is where they put a lot of their emphasis. If someone with MCI has a deficit in one or more of these areas and it's addressed, which it definitely can be, that person can do better cognitively. Again, of course, that's not everybody. I'm seeing a trend right now of people with MCI who feel they're stuck. They generally know these things and they're trying. They're exercising. They're watching what they eat. But they don't feel like they're getting the results they want. They're angry and frustrated and afraid. They're like, why isn't this working for me? So that's what I want to address in part 2 of this series, which is coming next week. In the meantime, I would love to hear from any of you who think you fall into one of the first 3 categories I've discussed today. What have your experiences been? How have you been addressing it? What are you working on? Tell me in a comment below. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to seeing you again next week for part 2 of this series. Until then, as always, be kind to your mind.